What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Travis. This is TW Motorsports, and today, oh my, it's hot. It is freaking hot. I know I say this on every video, but I'm already sweating, and we'll talk about why here in just a second. As you could tell from the thumbnail, something is broke. Now, to give you a little bit of backstory, on my way to work, I don't know what's going on with the Camaro. So I get in it, I start it. It was sitting outside, so there's a little bit of dew on it. Sorry, I'm just wiping sweat off, but a little bit of dew on the window. So what I did was I hit the windshield wipers and they moved really slow, but I didn't think much of it. Thought something was breaking, and drove it down the road on the way to the gas station because I needed gas. On the way to the gas station, the brake, the ABS light, and the traction control light both came on. Now I thought, well, maybe I'll just reset it when I get to the gas station. As far as just turning the key off and back on, sometimes those things are finicky. Anyway, get gas, start on my way to work, which is about 45 minutes away, and all my gauges die, so I knew I probably better start making it way back to the house. I got almost to the house and it died, so luckily I had a friend that could come help me tow it back, and so that is where we are at right now, guys. They have just left, and this is what I'm left with. Thank God I bought the golf cart, right, so I can haul all my junk cars around, but it is broken. Pretty sure it's the alternator, so that's what we're going to be doing. I'm going to tow this thing up to the front. I'm going to get it on my race ramps because obviously we're going to be doing this outside, and we'll get the alternator off and go have it checked and make sure that that's what it is. But this sucks, guys. And no joke, the very day that it breaks, somebody wants to come look to see it. You guys may or may not know it is for sale, and that's how it goes. Somebody of course wants to see it now that it's broken, but we are going to see if we can get it fixed, and I told that person it might be a couple days before they could see it, kind of buying me some time. But guys, we're gonna pull this thing up and see if that is what our problem is. So as you guys can see, I got it up on the race ramps, and the reason I did that is it's pretty low to the ground. I'm going to do this on the ground, so the very first thing we're going to do is we're going to loosen the battery because we don't want to get shocked while we're taking all that crap apart. And honestly, this needs charge now because it was running on battery voltage, and well, obviously it ran until it ran out of juice. And so had I had maybe a different battery, I would have made it further away from home, which is good because you obviously don't want to do that. But I'm going to go ahead, unhook that. I'll probably unhook that other side. I think it's rounded off, so I can't get this to work on it. Generally it's an 8mm, but I'm going to go ahead and take that other side off. I'm going to put this on the charger and just leave it in the car for now. But our next step is we're going to have a 15mm. We're going to take that belt off. Now I'll probably go ahead and take this out of the way, which is just a few clips and obviously a flat blade screwdriver to get it out of the way, just to give me a little more, for one, light, and then access to that belt. Well, now I have the battery charger on, I have the belt off, and obviously I have the lid out of place. Now, the other things I did, guys, is I did go ahead and unhook the throttle body, and I unhooked this wire here because we're going to need a little bit of slack when we take that alternator out. It is really tight. So I did put a little bit of slack in this line so I have some room to move it around. Now, why would the alternator fail? I will tell you guys, if you guys followed my channel for long, when I bought this car, the power steering pump would leak fluid as fast as it came out. And guess what's right underneath it? Well, the alternator. So chances are all that leaking power steering fluid got onto the alternator and completely ruined it. So that, I'm pretty sure that's what's going on. When I put that alternator, when I put this together, that alternator was completely soaked in fluid. So I'm gonna pull it out anyway. I'm like 99.9% sure that's what it is. The car will run fine as long as the battery has a charge. So it's gotta be the alternator. So I'm gonna go ahead, get underneath the car. We're gonna grab a couple 15 millimeters because that's what it takes to get it out. And I believe 113, and we'll kind of show you that process. Now once we're under here, you can see exactly how tight of an area we're working with. But so there's a 13 that comes in from the back side that mounts the alternator back here on the back. So hopefully you guys can see that up here. And then honestly, there's only two 15s that hold the alternator into place, but I found that if you take the 15 out that holds the entire bracket, sometimes it makes things easier. So the very first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take out the 13, and then we'll take out the two 15s on the front. And if we're able to get it out of place, that's great. But if not, you may have to go ahead and take the 15 out that holds the bracket. The other thing is from the top side, you can kind of feel around up top where the wiring comes in. If you're able to unplug it, that is awesome. But if not, you may have to let it come down a little bit before you're able to access it. Well, I was able to get the two 15s out, and of course the 13 in the back, but it's just giving me issues, guys. It's not wanting to move around real well. It's probably froze up in there. So I'm gonna go ahead and take the bracket loose. Now, what that enables you to do is kind of pull the bracket out and then get to the back side and hook up. There's a power line, and then obviously there's a plug that goes up into the computer that tells it when to charge. But there is a power line that's coming in right here. That's what this guy is, going to the actually give it charge to the battery. So we also are gonna have to unhook that. But taking this out will allow us to pull this whole unit forward and then get to the back side to the plug and everything else. So now you can see that I have it loose, and I actually pulled a little bit forward. I'm using the sway bar as a kind of an anchoring point to let it rest. But you can see the 13 millimeter that you have to take loose on the back, and I have gone ahead and loosened it. We're gonna go ahead and take it off. Now there are two connections here. I'm gonna go ahead and pull both of those off, and then we should be able to get it down at least far enough to maybe. Yeah, so we can get it down far enough to get the plug out that actually goes up into the harness. So now I've got it pulled as far forward as I feel comfortable pulling it. I don't want to break this because, guys, this is always super brittle. I'm going to use this hook, you can see right here, to reach up in there. You can feel the plug, and there's a little keeper on it, just like all your other plugs, that you have to pull loose in order to pull it out. So this is going to have to be done a little bit by feel. You can turn the alternator up a little further, but I'm unable to get it to move around. Just I've got a bunch of stuff here in front. If the fans were out, you probably could get a little more movement out of it, or if the sway bar were out of the way. But honestly, the sway bar actually helps me hold it in place. So I'm gonna go ahead and pop that plug out, and then we'll get this alternator. You may have to move things around a little bit in order to get it out of the bottom. You may have to actually separate it from the bracket, but we'll pull it out through the bottom. Now, as you can see, I went ahead and got the plug out. And guys, I would love to have shown you that, but there's just no way for me to hold the camera, and there wouldn't have been enough light in here to show you, but it has to be done by feel. I'll show you what the plug looks like here in just one second, but I do have it separated from the bracket, so we're gonna go ahead and snake this alternator out of place. So now that I have it out of place, I'll show you what this plug looks like. It's like I said, every other one on the car, but you have to pull this up, obviously, to loosen it and get it out of the car, and that is on the top side. But I did go ahead and pull the bracket out. You can see, golly, guys, it had been leaking, obviously, all over that, and that's probably what was causing our issue. You can see all the crap on the motor. I've actually got some on the belt now. I'm gonna have to clean all this off when I go back together. But the alternator is out. You can see where the plug plugged in here. And well, we're gonna go get it tested and see if that's exactly what our issue is. Well, like I said, I'm 99% sure that's what it is, and you guys can see it's almost completely coated. But let's run it into town. Well, guys, I am back from the parts store, and guess what? It is bad. Now, normally I would just buy one, right, and bring it home and put it on, but their prices are retarded, guys. They're just too high. So I'm gonna buy it off Amazon or Rock Auto, one of the two, probably Amazon. And so because I want to get this thing together, guess what? We're going to be ripping the one off of my Trans Am. Now, I feel like the Trans Am deserves a new one. and this old car does not. So we're going to use this one. And I think it's been replaced before actually, but it's not going to take much because it's not, none of the wiring's hooked up to it. So all I have to do is take the, technically just 2 bolts out and we should be good. So I'm going to grab it off of there and we're going to go ahead and put this thing in, and then I will order a new one and use that as a core for the new one. So I got it all planned out anyway, or at least so I think. But let's grab that. I won't show you guys me taking it off of the car. I'll just get it off and then we will go back together with this one. Now that we have the new one off, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to situate it in the bracket, and then we'll kind of put it all into place at one time. So very first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to plug in that top piece, and I take that back. I'm not going to plug that in until last because it's easy to reach up there and plug it in. It's just not real easy because of that clip to unplug it. So I'm going to go ahead and line it up with the bracket, and then I'll show you guys that. Like I said, I don't have a tripod that gets this low to get under the car. But I'll line it up with the bracket, get the bracket and all into place, and maybe a couple of at least a couple of the bolts started, and then we will go ahead and hook up some of the hardware here. Like I said, it's easy to plug the top in, and it's not too bad to get to this. Well, as you can see, I've got it into place. I've got this threaded quite a ways in, the actual bracket bolt itself, and then the top one threaded quite a ways in. Now this bottom one does have a piece on it that holds the bottom of the transmission, or the transmission lines, and so I need to back it out, or pull it out and go ahead and put that into place. And then the 13 in the back. And then other than that, you guys saw me, I went ahead and tightened the 13 with the 2 power lines that came on, or came off of it, and then I also plugged that in up top. So all that we have to do is snug these down. 35 foot-pounds is all these get if you guys want to torque them. And the back one, I believe, is quite a bit less because it's quite a bit smaller. I generally just tighten it by hand. But 35 on these 3 in the front, and then we can get the belt back on, hook the battery up, and see if we fixed our issue. Everything is tightened down. 35 foot-pounds, like I said. I did get that transmission holder back into place, this guy right here. And I went ahead and tightened that 13 just nice and snug. But now all we need to do is put the belt on. I'm going to do that from the top side, and then reassemble just a few pieces of plug, and we should be good to go. Now the last thing we need to do is to hook up the battery, and you guys saw I put another stud in here so I could charge it because it was dead from running the rest of the car on battery. So we'll get it tightened up. Probably going to put the charger back on it because it's not, I'm sure it's not quite charged. I mean, it's only taken me about, well, I had to run to town, but it's only been on the charger for about an hour. So we'll see if it starts up, and hopefully this fixed our problem. Of course, it started to spit some rain, but it's not too bad. I don't think it's going to be much. But I'm going to give you guys a few seconds here while I get ready to start it, and go down to the comments and let me know, do you think this is what the problem was? Do you think it's going to start? The battery was pretty dead this morning, guys. I don't know. It may not go. All right, has it been long enough for you to go in the comments and tell me yay or nay, do you think it'll start? All right, let's try it. And the key won't even turn. There we go. Oh, it's charging. Everything seems to be working. I think that was our issue, guys. Well, as you guys can see, that fixed it. I'm super excited because these old B4C cars, man, they take a lot of beating on their charging system because of all the lights and radio equipment, all the junk that they put in these cars. But it is fixed nonetheless, or at least it started. we will see. But like I said, I'm pretty sure it tested. It failed. I can't even talk, but it failed the test at the parts store. So chances are it's probably bad. But I've had them fail and be good before, and it be other things. But guys, hopefully you like this video. I know that a lot of you guys out there are going to have to do this if you own one of these cars. So it's a good time, honestly, to make a video on something that normally is pretty normal maintenance on these cars. But if you do like this video, smash that thumbs up button and go down and hit the subscribe if you're not subscribed already. And while you're down there, you might as well ring that bell icon. That way you're notified every single time we drop a new video. And well, now I have to go in and shower because I'm dirty, I'm wet and sweat because it's so hot. The rain did help though. But guys, we have some awesome news coming on the Trans Am probably next week. So make sure you check that video out and well, stay tuned to see what we work on next.